Boruto Chapter 70 finally introduces us to Code without his limiter, something that we've been waiting for about a year now. And in Boruto Chapter 70, Amado folded and ended up removing Code's limiters. Now, the thing with Code's limiters is that there's a very interesting panel here in the manga to where Damon yells out white, and it may be referring to Code's hair or whatever like that, but there's also some significance to that with, Code's karma as well. So when Code was younger, Code and Kawaki were placed in this experiment to get a karma seal placed on them. And when this experiment happened, Kawaki got a fully functional karma, but Code ended up getting a slightly not fully functional one that did not allow Ishiki to revive through him. It only gave Code the power buffs that the karma gives the user. And what's really interesting about this is that I think that the reason why Code has white hair is sort of related to the karma seal, right? I think that the two are synonymous with each other, and there is some significance to why Code has some sort of white thing on him, whether it be his hair or whatever the case may be. And even after he got his limiters taken off, he actually looked at his karma and sort of reaffirmed himself that he could sort of beat anybody. But going back now, once that experiment was done and Code barely made it out alive, I think that once he got that karma still on him, it ended up changing some of his physical aspects, and perhaps the power was a little bit too much for him to handle at that point in time. And one of the reasons why he even has these limiters on in the first place is because he didn't want to seem like he was a threat to Ishiki. So I think because Code's situation is a little bit different, and because he didn't necessarily go through the experiment the way it was supposed to go, and he somehow ended up living and got the white karma, I think that signifies that maybe the power was a little bit too much for Code, thus changing his hair color a little bit or something similar along those lines. So kind of my theory and reasoning behind this is, I wonder if Code with his limiters taken off, if he's stronger, right? But does that mean that he can necessarily, harness all this power correctly, right? If I'm going back to my idea of saying that this power might be too much for Code, I wonder if later on in the manga we'll see Code maybe struggling to fight for too long or too prolonged of a time and sort of has to fight enemies kind of quick. Now, this is sort of my theory that that Code can't necessarily output too much, but I'm just going off the idea that I think that the power from the karma seal might be too much for Code. And another thing to talk about Code is that Code actually has an overarching weakness that we sort of briefly touched up on, right? And that is Code cannot actually absorb chakra, which is very interesting, right? Because his karma seal is sort of half, right? And his karma seal is not really the one that Kawaki has, is a little bit more different. So it is interesting that even though Code gets limiters removed and whatnot, there are still some very overarching weaknesses that Code still exhibits and could be problems for him in the future. And it sort of makes it seem like there are other ways now to beat Code, right? When we were fighting Jigen, it was all combat. Ishiki, a little bit of jutsus, but it didn't really matter because Ishiki would just shrink them. But in Code's case, the only way he can really avoid jutsus or any sort of chakra based attacks is by either going into his claw marks or doing something along those lines. So it is interesting that Code's one weakness is actually he can't absorb chakra. That may have changed once he's got limiters removed, I don't know. Perhaps when Code got these limiters removed, there were some sort of other powers that awaken alongside with that, and maybe he got some more benefits of the karma seal, but I'm not exactly sure. But if Code is the person that he is saying he is, and he knows how to harness the true essence of the karma, then I don't think that him not being able to absorb chakra is going to be a super big issue, but it's sort of something to point out. And I feel like if Naruto and Sasuke end up confronting Code in the future, this will actually be a plus for Naruto and Sasuke, because they'll actually be able to use their jutsus and won't be limited by the fact that they have to go on fully taijutsu. And also, we gotta talk about Code's eyes. Code's eyes changed, and they put some sort of emphasis on Code's eyes. Now, I wonder if Code has some sort of dojutsu or something along the lines. I don't know if his pupils changed up too much, but his eyes do look a little bit different. So there may be something going on with Code's eyes. Maybe he has some sort of dojutsu or whatever like that. If he does have a dojutsu, I would think it would be similar to maybe one of the powers that Ishiki had, or something along those lines, or some sort of Otsutsuki dojutsu, maybe gained from the karma seal. That could be a possible thing, right? Because we know that Kawaki has a karma seal, is able to tap into his dojutsu. So it could be possible that Code with a karma seal can actually tap into some other dojutsu as well. So just sort of just throwing up ideas out there to what Code can possibly do. So yeah, it's very interesting to see Code without his limiters, how powerful he's going to get, and see what kind of people are going to be able to stop him in the future. We know Ada and Damon might potentially be able to stop Code, because Ada sounded very confident saying that even if you get your limiters taken off, I don't care. I'm still gonna, stop you if I seem that you're unfit, right? So, in that case, then, those two are probably the only two that could beat Code right now. But, besides that, it's sort of a mix up. And I think Kawaki and Boruto are going to train a little bit more to achieve that. Anyway, curious to hear what you guys have to think about it. Let me know what you guys think about Code's new look without his limiters. And who do you think is going to take down Code? And do you think Code is going to take anybody down with him before the time skip? Anyways, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord. And I will see you guys later. Peace.